Welcome. So this week I have a very special treat. This is a dear friend of mine, Mareya
so
Ibrahim.
good to be here with
It's so
you,
great.
love.
Thank you for being here. And so I want to do a quick introduction. But before I actually read your introduction, which is highly impressive, I want to talk just for a second about how we met.
Yeah.
So we actually met doing something that you were very good at and qualified for. I was not. I actually got drug onto Recipe
That's
Rehab.
not fair.
Oh no, it was
that's
on
not
ABC.
fair.
I didn't want to do it. My husband sort of pushed me into it because you and I were both part of something called the Daniel Plan.
Yes.
And so I met you there, and you were one of the only people who was really nice to me.
Oh my gosh. How could
So-
anybody not be nice to you?
You know, it was this crazy competitive environment. It was
Oh.
so interesting to me.
Yeah. No, I want to say how much admiration I have for you.
Well, thank you.
And Daniel, and I rave about you guys all the time, and I've been telling people everybody's got to go get their brain scanned, which I'm next.
We would love to have you
But
come
I
and spin.
love that we share such a similar point of view on food
We
and
do.
nourishment and being a warrior and taking control of your life, but at the same time enjoying your life and enjoying it with the
Exactly.
people you love, because that's at the end of the day, that's what we have.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I want to talk more about Recipe Rehab, but let
Yeah.
me just really quickly tell you who Mareya is, because I just am so impressed with what you've done.
thank you.
So you are actually known as the Fit Foodie, which is so true. You can't see her sitting here, but she is super fit. The Fit Foodie, the nationally recognized food safety and clean eating expert, an award-winning entrepreneur, television chef, which I learned firsthand, author and inventor. You're the CEO and founder of Grow Green. I've seen your website. You have a lot of green products, which I really like.
Yeah, I'd love to
Your
share a
food
little bit
wash
about
and
the
stuff
Eat
like that.
Cleaner. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
You patented Eat Clean, Eat Safe, and Eat Fresh line of natural and organic products, which I saw on your website. That was really cool. Your book, The Clean Eating Handbook, was released in May of 2013 and is being touted as the go-to guide for anyone looking to eat cleaner and get leaner. I like that. So rather than a diet book, it's which I don't like that either.
I don't like it.
You're a co-contributor to the Daniel Plan, another way that we were connected.
Yes.
We both contributed to the Daniel Plan, 40 Days to a Healthier Life, by Rick Warren and my husband, Dr. Amen, and Mark Hyman. You've been featured on the Emmy-nominated cooking show Recipe Rehab, ehow.com, livestrong.com, and you're a frequent guest on San Diego 6 and Fox 5 San Diego News. Your back page column, The Fit Foodie, appears in Edible Orange County magazine.
Yeah.
So you're super busy when it comes to food. I like that. When we went on Recipe Rehab, I just have to this is just so funny. So I really, I wasn't a huge fan of going on a cooking show because I've always made it clear when I got into this, I'm a nurse. I'm not a chef, right? My husband always says I went from disaster to master. I did it strictly out of necessity.
Yeah.
It was survival for me.
Yeah.
It was to get healthy, get my family healthy. And I did it at a time when it wasn't a super common thing
Sure.
to get into food as medicine. And so that's why I got into doing it. And so I'd written a couple of books and they were doing pretty well. And somehow I ended up on this show. And I didn't realize that everyone on the show were master chefs, right? And so I get on the show, I'm like, you guys know I'm not a master chef, right? They're like, oh, you're not? No, I'm a nurse. And so when I sent them you have to send them your list of ingredients.
Yeah.
They argued with me.
Oh gosh.
And they literally were arguing with me. I'm like, no, I cannot use white flour. No.
Yeah.
They're like, can you replace your flax meal for, I forget what they wanted to replace it with. It was something gluten laden. And I'm like, no.
Yeah.
And so they gave me this, they were just like kind of arguing
wasn't
with me.
work-
They're like,
it
no
wasn't
one is
jiving.
going to, they're like, no
Yeah.
one's going to understand what this is. I go, that's the whole point. I'm an educator.
Yeah.
And so we kept going back and forth. So I get on the show and they literally gave me everything they gave me was almost wrong.
Oh,
so rather than
gosh.
flax meal, they gave me flax seeds.
Oh,
And you don't have
you
a lot of
can't-
time. No. I'm like, I'm trying to cook
Where's
with
the coffee
flax
grinder?
seeds. Yeah, I'm like, what is going on? They didn't
Yeah.
have the coffee grinder. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is a disaster. So I did the best I could. It was just, and the producers were nice, but I had a hard time with a couple of the chefs that were, they were highly competitive. I'm like, I was just there to have a good time and,
Yeah.
But then I met you.
Yeah.
And it made it worth it. And you
Thank
were just
you.
so much fun. And I realized you were also part of the Daniel Plan, which was so coincidental.
Well, what I loved about Recipe Rehab was, you have all these families that have these classic recipes
Right.
that have been passed on, and
And they're not
Aunt
healthy.
Emma's double chocolate cake that had like 500,000 grams of sugar
Yeah.
in it, like insane, and that we got a chance to make it better for them.
And I loved that.
You know what I mean? And I think that we can take that approach in so many things in our lives. Like, food doesn't have to be replaced. I think we have this idea in our minds that like in order to eat cleaner or eat better for you, I don't even like the word diet,
I don't either.
but an eating plan that's sustainable, that we have to replace all these things. And that's just simply not true. There are always better alternatives and smart swaps. And at the same time, I always go back to like family is everything.
Right.
So at the center of your family is where your traditions are. It's where you enjoy your food together. It's where you come together in celebration. And every day can be a celebration. You know, food and sustenance is such a tremendous glue, and it engages all your senses, and it gave us a chance to really like say you don't have to do it on your own. You can do it with
Right.
your family. And by the way, I replaced all of the butter in
Yes.
one of my dishes with pureed beets.
See, I love that.
And that cake won.
It was so
they
easy.
were doing it
Right.
with the beets, and it still won. So like we can overcome a lot of perceptions when we show people how to do it the right
And
way.
I think a lot of it, and this is where my expertise has been, is educating people. Because even on that show, they had no idea at the time they were like, why are we introducing all of these ingredients? Because that's what I do.
Yeah.
These people were diabetic.
Yeah.
I'm like, someone has to explain to them. Like,
Yeah.
it's not a hard swap.
It's not, and
It's
I think
really not a
It's
hard
really
swap.
about that demonstration, and the beautiful thing about that show, and I think when even in the Daniel plan, is when we would do demonstrations in front
They
of
get it.
an audience and they see it, they're like, oh wow,
And they taste it,
I
and it's
get
good.
it.
Yeah.
It's that connection, and I think that's why cooking shows are so popular. I mean,
Right.
I was on an episode of Cutthroat Kitchen on the Food
Oh.
Network, and I was like, I never want to do a competition show
Right.
again,
No.
but I want to educate people and show and tell, because that's really where my heart is.
Me too. See,
Yeah.
that's what I really love. And
Yeah.
and I actually think that is, so I worked with you, I worked with Jenny Ross, and I really felt like that. So I actually was clear. The one good thing about being on a show like Recipe Rehab was I became very clear about what it is I do.
Yeah.
I already sort of knew, but I'm like, I don't want to go on competitive shows about being a chef. That's not me. I'm an educator. So what I actually talk to the Daniel Plan about is like, look, I am your educator. I partner with chefs. And I think that's why it worked out so well. I gave them a ton of recipes. I provided recipes because that's what they need. But it worked so well to be able to partner with you and Sally and Jenny, and you guys would come on and do the food demonstrations, and I did a lot of the education, because that's how we forge a path.
Sure.
That's how we actually educate people. Look, we were never, as a species, we never ate the way we eat now 100 years ago.
Yeah.
That only happened when we all of a sudden were able to store massive amounts of food. We ate seasonally.
Yeah.
We ate what was fresh.
Yeah.
We were just talking
What
about
was
being in Italy.
local.
We talked about being in
Exactly.
Italy.
Yeah.
And even though they eat pasta, I never feel sick when I go there. They serve tiny portions. It's homemade.
The flour is
it's fresh
locally
made.
milled. It's not
Not
processed.
GMO.
It's 2 ingredients usually,
And
maybe
it's tiny
3,
amounts.
and it's small amounts in proportion, and it's eaten slowly.
Right.
This is another thing that we have, and I talk about it in Eat Like You Give a
Show
Fork.
them your
Yeah,
I love
I'm
this title.
so
Title
excited
is so
for
great.
this book, because
Eat
I think
like
it's
you give a fork.
it's so liberating. And when I was in culinary school, I went to culinary school in France, and that was a long time ago, and this was before flax
Yeah.
and chia
They
and
think
all
you're
of it,
weird, right.
and I was not feeling good. I was constantly feeling bloated. I was constantly feeling heavy, not motivated.
Right.
And I was like, I ended up dropping out, and I'm saying it.
Oh,
I
wow.
never finished because it just wasn't working for me. And then I got on the holistic nutrition path, and I started organizing culinary events for a chain of natural food stores.
wow.
And I was like, okay, this feels better. And I'm Middle Eastern, so like a lot of my background is the Mediterranean diet. It's beans and grains and all of these things that worked for me,
Yeah.
but I wasn't seeing that in the cooking that I
Right.
was learning. So I started merging my culinary perspective with the better for you food, and that was the magic
See, me too.
combination.
Yeah.
That's where the book like really gives you a path. It's an 8-part strategy, and within each strategy you get a chance to dive into more of a culinary point of view.
So let me ask you a question, because this is a beautiful book, and I love the title, Eat Like You Give a Fork.
Thank you.
But I need to understand something. This is not just a cookbook.
No, not
It's
at
a
all.
lifestyle book.
It's
It's teaching you strategy.
It's 8 strategies, and they are based on strategies that I've tried and tested with literally thousands of people that I've coached.
Okay.
So beyond the Daniel plan in my health coaching, I've done corporate health coaching with individuals. And the first thing that I find is when you tell people to eat a certain way, if they've never eaten that way before, you have to start by retraining their taste buds.
Absolutely.
So that's the first strategy in the book is let us reset what you are eating so that you crave differently.
Yeah, we find that within about 7 to 10 days, blueberries taste sweet.
Exactly.
Right? They're God's candy.
It's an 8-day reset. Anybody can do it. You eat a few bites of the foods that I recommend, and then all of a sudden you start to crave bitter and sour and umami flavors that then open up the world to the things that are better for you.
That's so interesting.
Yeah.
So that's your first strategy. What's the second strategy?
The second strategy is to really transform your kitchen. So, in your real kitchen, you are taking out all of the things that don't serve you. And I kind of make the analogy to a great wardrobe.
Right.
When you go into your refrigerator, I think some people expect like the food to pop out at them and be
Right.
like, eat me.
Right.
And it doesn't work that way. You have to be intentional. And there's only a few things we need to survive, right? Food's one of them. So if we would just give a fraction of the attention to what we're eating, more than like social media, you know what I'm saying? Like it's perspective. So I'm telling you that when you get your real kitchen in order, you get your food house in order, you get the right tools, everything changes.
So one of the first videos that Daniel and I did together for the Daniel plan was a pantry cleanse for this woman. So people were volunteering to, do this. And this woman said, I actually eat really healthy. So I would love to have you, come. She thought that, it was going to be like this great experience, whatever. She was mind blown.
Oh, yeah.
Because when we got in there, we're like, Captain Crunch. Like, what? But she didn't, see, most people don't even understand what is healthy, what's not healthy, because we have been so trained by the food industry rather than by our grandparents.
Yes.
Right? My family's from Lebanon.
Oh,
so,
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, my grandmother didn't even speak English. Yeah.
No wonder we have this connection. I love it.
So when you have these grandparents that they cooked fresh every day, they did they did this stuff.
Yeah.
Now, I didn't grow up like that, sadly, because my mom ended up being a runaway. We were poor. But when my family cooked, and like when Daniel's family still cooks, he's from Lebanon as well. He's Lebanese. It's just fresh. The ingredients are fresh. They're clean. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we've gotten so far away from that. And most people think that if it says healthy on the label, this is where you and I love the reason you're here, your strategies, because, and I love your philosophy because we are so on the same page.
Yeah. I mean, think about that. Like our parents, they would bring home meats and fish and produce, and they would literally cook it every day, and go to the market the next day and
they
see
walk.
what's fresh.
My grandma couldn't even drive. She'd walk
with
stop
their
at the
bags,
grocery store, walk out.
Yeah,
but it's so interesting now. We think if it's got a label that says health food on it,
yes,
and if you read the ingredients, that's rarely true.
Yes,
and so it's rarely. You have to really read labels, and you have to understand what processed food is.
And beyond that, I think when we can get away from just surviving on what's in our pantry and really reevaluate our refrigerator. I call it rehabbing your refrigerator, because if half of our eating plan should be fresh produce, shouldn't half of our refrigerator be too?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So like take advantage of eating with the colors.
Yeah.
The color,
the rainbow.
The rainbow. I know it sounds like maybe we've been talking about it over and over again, but isn't it more attractive when you see like this array of color in front of you?
Natural food is so beautiful.
You get
It can't be
appetized.
Skittles. It's got to be a real rainbow.
Yes, the real rainbow.
Well, let's come back. When we come back, let's talk about the rest of your strategies. I'm actually really enjoying this. It's just totally in alignment with what we teach here at Amen Clinics. And so I love being able to offer more resources to people. And this is just a fantastic resource.
Thank you, Tana.
We'll be right back. Welcome back. So I am back with Mareya Ibrahim, my dear friend. We're talking about your beautiful book, Eat Like You Give a Fork. Where can they find this? I love that title. Wait, I gotta get it.
So it is in bookstores across the country. You can get it on Amazon. You can get it
So
on
it's widely distributed.
barnesandnoble.com. Yep. And
Okay.
and also on our website.
And
at
we're going to do a
eatcleaner.com.
giveaway.
Yes.
Yes. So we're going to
So
do a book
excited for that.
giveaway. Tell them how we're going to do the giveaway. You tell us what they can do to get this book. It's going to go through our podcast website.
Yeah.
So brainwarriorsway.com.
I think we're just going to do it randomly. So just give us your email and your name, and we'll pick a random winner.
Okay, and I'm sorry, it's brainwarriorswaypodcast.com. So brainwarriorswaypodcast.com. We'll pick one of you. So write in, let us know that you want the book, and we will do a giveaway for you.
That's awesome.
Excellent.
Love it.
So we were talking about strategies, and we sort of got off topic and started talking about culture and American culture. We eat on the run, right? This is what fast food, supersize me, fast food, eat in my car, let's go. And I've been certainly guilty of it for much of my life, being a trauma nurse, being a single working mother at times. It's hard in our society because our society hasn't focused around family.
Yes.
Like other societies have, like other cultures have. Even though my family is Lebanese, I was raised here.
Yeah.
And so you were talking about that with your family.
Yeah, I mean, and Eat Like You Give a Fork really is about intentionality. It's about, going back to what we were talking about before, like there aren't a lot of things we need to survive, but there are many things that we need to thrive.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the real dish on eating to thrive. I really want people to feel like the best that they possibly can. And when you figure out your food foundation, it's amazing how many other things unravel, how they unravel in a good way, and then they come together for you. I actually struggled with an eating disorder for a decade.
Right.
And it was because I had this warped idea of what food was. And when I got my food house in order, it's like everything came together.
Okay. But now I'm a nurse. No, we have to stop for a second
Yeah.
because one thing that people don't understand about, and this is one of the reasons we are, and it really bothers me when in some of these programs, they're like, no food is bad food. It's not about good and bad, but it is a fact that certain foods, they affect your hormones, they affect your mood, they affect your neurotransmitters. 100%. And this is where, as a nurse, I get really involved.
Yeah.
Okay. So I love this combination of chef, nurse, and creating healthy foods because just as well, you said when you were in culinary school, you were bloated, you didn't feel good, right?
Yes.
That doesn't help. What happens is when you eat certain foods, sugar namely, but the certain combination of sugar, fat, salt, when it's processed, when it's fried, certain things like that, they trigger this bliss point in your brain. They also affect your hormones, things like leptin. They're affecting your blood sugar. They're affecting insulin. What that does is it's actually affecting your cravings. It's shutting down the signal that goes to your brain that tells you that you are hungry or full.
Yes.
In this case, it shuts down that signal that lets your body know you're satisfied. So these cravings go on, and in our society, it's not okay to look a certain way. Women have these control issues. We don't want to be fat. We don't want to be overweight. We want to be healthy. And so we've got this massive amount of pressure. And if you don't do drugs, if you're not a person who believes in doing drugs, you end up finding food, right?
Yeah.
It's so complicated and people don't get that. It does matter. Everything you put on the end of your fork matters.
It does. And what I found is it's not about just eating, because the truth is you can eat and you can still be malnourished.
Right.
We have
absolutely. You can be overweight
and you can be overweight and malnourished.
In fact, usually you are.
And I really did feel that way. I felt like what I was eating was not feeding me.
If you're not feeling vibrant, if you're not feeling strong, if you're feeling depressed and lethargic, you're probably not getting the nutrients you need. Things like omega-3 fatty acids, things like vitamin D. You're not getting what you need.
And that's really where I kind of shifted my perspective and rotated my own plate, so to speak. And that's what I'm teaching in the book. And, even though I come from a Mediterranean, Middle Eastern background where food was everything. I mean, talk about intentional.
Right.
Breakfast, we were planning lunch,
right.
Lunch planning dinner, and would shop for ingredients every single day. There was also a mindset of like, eat as much as you can. Like, don't leave the table unless you're like,
all I ever heard was, you're too skinny. You're too skinny. People walking around trying to like literally shove food in your mouth.
So I think that combined with what I was experiencing physically is what contributed to that rabbit hole. And so what I want people to feel is that food is a solid foundation for you, and it doesn't have to be a place of guilt or shame. And deprivation is not the approach.
Well, we are not creatures of deprivation.
I get so upset when people tell me, I'm trying to lose weight and I haven't eaten all day. And I'm like, do you know what you're doing to your metabolism?
Yeah, you're not going to lose weight.
That's not going to work.
But we are also not hardwired as human beings to deprive ourselves. We are hardwired for survival. So we're hardwired to not be deprived. The minute that it's in front of you, and if you've been depriving yourself, you're hardwired to take it.
Yeah.
So,
but I want people to really think about this for a second. Like when you eat a meal, and everybody is different, but when you eat a meal, how do you feel afterwards?
Right.
Are you feeling energetic? Do you feel like you want to go out and slay, or are you feeling like you want to go take a nap? Are you feeling sad? Are you feeling anxious? Are you feeling like you can't sleep? All of those are indicators. And so, when you really examine what's going on in you can usually pinpoint what the trigger is too. Like some people can't have gluten,
right,
but a lot of people,
I don't feel well when I do.
A lot of people can.
Right.
I think it's very personal, and it's not like that isolated in and of itself is a problem.
So one thing we do here at Amen Clinics, we are dealing with a different, our population's obviously different than the people you're coaching. We are dealing strictly with very sick people. I mean, really sick people. And so we put everyone on an elimination diet, but we're very clear that not everyone's the same. We take it all out. We introduce things one at a time back in. And some people, it's, for like me, crystal clear. Gluten is the thing that affects me probably the worst. But, my daughter, it's dairy. It's not gluten.
Yeah.
So I think everyone's different.
Everybody's different. And in the book, there are some things that I ask people to eliminate. Because like you said, you can't add to a good wardrobe without taking some of the important things out.
Right.
So in the beginning, there's no processed sugars. Throughout.
You have to start.
There's no processed sugars. There's no refined, bleached flours.
And then, by the way, that's just not going to serve you.
It's
even
not
if you
gonna
have
serve
it once
you.
in a while. So I'm clear that on occasion, I always tell people, we were talking about this too.
Yeah.
So we have a 95-5 rule. 90-10 if you are a person who's got really good control, right? If you're not addicted anymore, you've got good control and you're not sick, 90-10 is fine.
Yeah.
But for our people, when they're first starting out, they're so addicted. And we start them off with a 95-5. And we know no one's going to do it perfectly. So it's not about perfection. In fact, I practice karate. And so the thing I always tell people is, if you go in thinking you're going to do it perfectly, you're going to lose, right? The first thing they teach you is how to fall safely, get up quickly. And so falling isn't failure.
Yes.
It's only failure if you stay down.
Yeah.
And so I love that philosophy. It's like, get up fast.
Yeah.
So I always tell people, if you see me out eating something or having a glass of wine, don't come up and approach me. Trust me, I'm doing it with intention.
Hilarious.
I'm okay with it. I know what I'm doing. I live my message. The fact that I'm having a glass of wine or I'm having a bite of something, I have like a 3-bite rule usually if I'm having dessert.
Yeah.
Or I may just choose to have something once in a while.
That's actually one of the strategies in the book is the 90-10 rule.
Right.
And it's the last one for a reason. It's the last strategy because I want people to get the first 7 strategies down.
Right.
And incorporated into their regular
and kind
eating
of break
plan
that addiction probably.
and break the addiction. And then you can introduce the 10%. And even with that, I still believe that when you retrain your taste buds and you get
you won't want it as much.
You won't want it as much. I double dog dare you to eat that tray of brownies.
You will feel terrible.
You won't be able to do it because you've reset something that is then changing your brain.
And what we find is that when people do it, they're like, all right, I'm going to do it just because, right? And then afterwards they're like, why did I do that? Like, I don't even really want it.
Or they'll want a better version. Like we were talking about the rehabs. I actually have some recipes in here, like, banana pancakes with macadamia syrup. And you can still do that with better replacements, but you might not want like a full stack. You might want 2.
Right.
So,
that's what I do. If I go out and I'll have a gluten-free pancake, I have 1.
Allow yourself, because I think life is hard enough, for us to put these types of restrictions on ourselves when you get to that point where you can handle it.
I think that does set you up for failure because then it is deprivation. But if you know that it's like, okay, and the other thing is change the mindset. So for me, I don't know if you talk about this at all. For me, when people start doing that as a nurse and as someone who deals with psychology a lot, what is deprivation to you? You have to change what you think of as deprivation. For me, deprivation, because I was sick, I had cancer. Okay, so for me, deprivation is being sick. For me, deprivation is not being able to be with my family.
Yeah.
It's not being able to be here.
Yes.
Okay, actually being purposeful and helping people. That's deprivation.
Yeah.
The cupcake?
Agreed.
The cupcake?
Yeah. Well, and for
Okay,
some
so-
people, thinking that eating vegetables is deprivation.
Right, but see, for me, that's abundance because
Yes.
it gives me what I want.
And
It gives
that's-
me a vibrant life.
But that's changing a mindset.
Right.
So when you can help people understand that that vegetable is feeding cellular regeneration, it's maybe preventing the risk
Cancer.
of cancer. And my dad's a cancer survivor. I have many people in my family that have reversed that because they adopted
Right.
new habits in their lives. But what I'm saying is don't get to that point.
Right.
You know, we don't it's never too late, but it's never too early
Right.
either. And I think when you eat this way, you are then actually changing your DNA.
Yes.
Correct? I mean,
You are actually changing.
when people
So
say like this is in my
people
DNA,
say,
I'm like,
well, they always tell us that, well, it's my genetics.
Yeah.
Well, your genetics load the gun. You decide. Now, not always. There are some disorders, some diseases where you don't get to decide, right? So Down syndrome, you don't get to
Yes,
decide.
yes.
Okay, we know that. But there are in most of the like pretty much all the lifestyle diseases, right? Obesity, diabetes, in most cases, heart disease, oftentimes cancer.
yes.
There was an article that was so terrible. It came out, it said, cancer, it's your fault. And what they were trying to say is it's lifestyle.
Yeah.
Okay. So the genetics load the gun.
The genetics
But
load
it's
the
your
gun.
lifestyle that you decide whether you pull the trigger in most cases.
100%. And I just recently lost my mom. She had a stroke that took her life. And she was struggling with diabetes and so many things. And, you know, I'm going to be honest, like, I tried everything to change her lifestyle.
They've got to want to, though.
You have to want to.
Sometimes the disease
You have
wins,
to want to.
and we know that.
Yeah.
Sometimes the disease wins, and we know that. And some people aren't ready to do it. They don't want to for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Their own demons or whatever it is.
You have to want to, and you have to allow yourself the grace and the time to also like something, because I feel like sometimes people eat something and they're like, I don't really like broccoli. Well, have you tried it sauteed? Have you tried it
Or have you
steamed?
tried the
Have
other
you tri-
40 vegetables you could?
100%. So let's not get into this mindset of like, I don't like it, therefore I'm not going to try it any
How
other
about
way.
what can you do instead of what can't you do?
Yeah.
But I want to touch on something because what you said is really important. Let's come back. And I don't want to forget to talk about what you said about your mother, because it's a really important point. So I want to come back, and in the next episode, let's discuss why people don't change. Welcome back. We are still here with my friend, Mareya Ibrahim, and we are talking about Eat Like You Give a Fork. This is a book that my husband and I both endorse. In fact, he endorsed the back of it.
So great.
And we're going to be doing a book giveaway. So make sure that you write into brainwarriorswaypodcast.com if you want this book. We're going to do a drawing. We're going to give this away. Also, make sure you tag us, because what I want you to do is think about this. In this episode, we are going to talk about why people don't change, okay, and what you can do if that's you or someone you love. And we want to hear what your biggest breakthrough is. Please tag us. You can tag, where can they find you?
At Eat Cleaner.
Eat Cleaner?
Eat
Okay.
Cleaner on Instagram and Facebook.
Okay, and you can find me at Tana Amen on Instagram, or you can tag, you can write into our podcast, so Brain Warriors Way podcast. So we want to hear from you, and we want to hear who you know that has this problem, and if you are one of these people, how did you change if you changed, or what you're struggling with. Just let us know.
Yeah.
So we left off the last episode with your mother who didn't change, and I have the same thing. My grandmother did not change. She's one of the reasons I became so inspired to do what I do.
Yeah.
Besides the fact that I was saving myself. My family was very sick, right? I have obesity, diabetes, heart disease, cancer. It was just all in my family.
Yeah.
And I got cancer.
Yeah.
And so it was a huge wake-up call to me, but I never could figure out why my grandmother, who was 4 feet 11 and weighed almost 200 pounds, and she was beautiful when she was young. I mean, stunning when she was young. Tiny little waist, gorgeous.
Yeah.
And then just gave up.
Yeah.
But it's easy to say she gave up. When I really looked into her history, that woman could not turn the news on without breaking every single day, breaking down and crying. Okay, and she had
Sounds
gone
so familiar.
She had gone through a war, and my uncle was murdered.
Oh, wow.
So her son had been murdered,
Wow.
and so after that, she gave up. Now that's one of the reasons we do what we do, right? We
Yeah.
want to know what's going on with you. Do you have PTSD? Have you had a head injury? That's what we do.
Yeah.
So tell me about your mother and what
Boy,
happened.
I just got chills.
Because sometimes it's not as simple as it sounds.
It really isn't. And you bring up a few very important things. I mean, my parents were immigrants. They
Right.
came to the United States with nothing, not knowing
My
anybody,
family too.
and having no money. My mom had a stillborn before me, so she carried a baby to
To term.
and he died in the delivery room,
Ugh.
which I can never
can't.
like wrap
No,
my
I get
head
chills.
around like
No.
how she got over that. And then, I think leaving her family in general, and she was a pharmacist and she got her pharmacy degree in Egypt, again in New York, again in Colorado.
Wow.
So
she's smart.
she's a smart woman, and she's very dedicated to that, but like a lot of pressure. And I think probably didn't know how to deal with all of that and didn't have an outlet for that. And I remember, most days growing up, like it was just, they were busy. So it would be like, food was just sort of like a free for all. And then on the weekends, we would eat really healthy. And then we go back to Egypt and we would see how our family actually ate. And it was very, very different. So, all of these things. And I think you bring up such an important point. Like, you've got to want it and you've got to make your brain then take charge, because it's a decision. It's a decision. And
if you're not doing that, my challenge to you is ask yourself why. So when we start like Brain Warriors Way, I told you I think we were a perfect match, right? I wrote the Brain Warriors Way with my husband.
Yeah.
We start with this concept of mastery. So it's mindset is the M in mastery. A is the assessment, right? So mindset and assessment, you have to ask yourself why. Why is it that you want to do this? Why is it a must, not a should?
Yes.
Right? It's got to be a must, not a should.
Yeah.
But if you're not able to do that, or you're like, I want to do it, but I can't, then you again need to ask why. That's the assessment part, okay? So we need to know what's going on. Is it biological? Is it because you've had a head injury? Is it because, your vitamin D is low? Is it because your hormones are off? What is it?
Yeah.
Is it psychological? Is it because you have PTSD? Is it because you are not blending into, you're an immigrant and you are not blending into society and the stresses are just way too high? Is it because of whatever reason? We've got to get that assessed and treated.
100%. In my health coaching, always the first meeting would be like, what is your motivation? Like, what is your reason why? What's your why? And I will tell you that 8 times out of 10, it would be just like people expressing from their heart how difficult of a time they were having.
Right.
So not even like focusing on like why they want to do things, but like the hardships that they've had. And your heart goes out to them because you realize like everybody is in their space. But if we really try and turn it around to like, what is motivating you? And I even talk about it in the book and I say, what's your BHAG? What's your big audacious goal?
Yeah,
like,
hairy goal.
Your goal, you're amazing. Your goal is like probably more advanced than other people's goals, and other people might want to do tremendous things. Like everybody's goal
Everyone's
is their
different.
own amazing audacious
For
goal.
some people, it's just I want to survive to see my child graduate college. Okay, that's okay.
Or I want to fit in the jeans that I couldn't wear, because I had a baby. Like everybody has their goal, and it's okay to honor that goal. If you want to fit in your jeans and that's your goal, that's your goal.
Just make sure that goal, in my mind, is going to last past the event you're going to. Right? We don't want to do it short term and then gain weight, and then short term and then gain weight.
Yeah, absolutely.
Make it a permanent.
It's going to be a step in the ladder.
Right.
And I think, let's maybe focus on what your goal is, so that you feel like this is something, for many people, it's like you said, you want to be around for your daughter. You want to be around for your husband. You want to be around. I'm a single mom. I have to take care of my two
It's like
kids.
it's just
you
need to do that.
It's required.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so sometimes when people tell me, well, I want to fit in my jeans, I'll keep digging. It's like, why? Why is it important to you?
Mm-hmm.
And then keep digging. It's like, why is that important? Like, we'll finally get down to what it really is. And then that will often help them. Because I've had people come in and they're like, well, I need to fit in a bathing suit by the time I go on vacation. Why?
Mm-hmm. Or they
Why
tell
is
you
that
they
important?
need to lose a certain number of pounds.
Right. Why?
I always question that. Like, why the pounds? Like, why are you focused on the pounds?
Because behind that is the real reason.
Yes.
And if I can get them to focus on the real reason, it won't just be for the vacation, right? It will turn into something they realize they need to do.
Yeah. Or there's this perception that they need to be a certain way, when in fact you ask them why that number and they kind of pull it out of nowhere.
It's because they've read it in a magazine.
They've read it in a magazine. So I think it's healthy to have these discussions, and it's really, the brain warrior's way as the beginning of like figuring things out. And then when you get your brain in order, and that's why I love the Daniel plan so
Yeah,
much.
me too.
It's not about
it's
one
5 pillars.
thing.
No.
It's the 5 pillars, and you need those 5 pillars to really have not just health and longevity in your food life, but in your personal life,
Yeah.
in your spiritual life, in every aspect of what you do.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's such an important thing. So I just think that was really important to touch on why people don't change when they know they're sick, when they know this is important, when they know it's life and death sometimes. My grandmother ended up dying of the effects of diabetes. She died of the heart disease. She had neuropathy in her limbs, and she had heart disease, and she ended up dying of that. She was legally blind. And it just broke my heart. Now, oddly, that is what inspired me to be different, right? So I became a nurse, and I decided I love my family and I don't want to be anything like them.
Yeah.
Because I saw myself starting to head down that path because I didn't know better when I was little.
Yeah,
I had no idea.
I saw it in my family too. On my mom's side of the family, many of them have heart disease, and I see it's the same lifestyle choices. It's the same poor food choices, even though they have plentiful food. It is lack of activity. It's a mindset. It's those 3 things. And, I didn't want to be that way either. And I saw that they were very sedentary, and that made me want to be active. And I just can't imagine life not being that way, because it makes me feel so good.
You're vibrant.
I feel like this is how you age well.
Right.
Right? Both physically in your body and emotionally.
Absolutely.
And so I feel like when you get a taste of that, that's when it's kind of like, oh, I like that.
Yeah,
I want to do more of that.
And I love that. And it's, things do change. Like, I'm 50 now. And I always said, are you really? Oh my God, you look so amazing.
You look amazing. Oh my gosh,
like,
look at you.
You gotta be kidding
Are
me.
you kidding?
So when I remember I was in probably like my best shape when I was in my mid 40s, like up until I was like 47. And I remember saying I had a lot of muscle mass. And I'm like, I'm going to be healthier at 50 than I am now at 47. And that was a goal for me. Excuse me. So I've worked towards that goal. Now, things happen, right? I ended up having surgery last year, and that shifted my hormones. And at first, it really threw me for a loop emotionally. I'm like, whoa, like I don't look the same as I did at 47. It made me really kind of like frustrated. And I'm like, I don't have the same muscle mass I had. I'm getting skinnier. I don't like being like that sort of like frail, skinny look. I want to be muscular.
Yeah.
And so it frustrated me. But then I had to do that same work that I do with my people on myself, that I do with people I coach. I did the same work on myself, and I went, what is your goal? Is the goal to be a certain body fat and muscle mass, or is the goal to be vibrant and healthy?
Yeah.
Because you are going to age, right?
Yes.
You are going to
Yes,
change.
we are
So,
gonna
but my
age.
life is amazing. It's vibrant. It's like, okay, I have to take what I have now
Yeah.
and maximize it. It's always about optimizing what you
Yes.
have,
Yes.
being vibrant, being healthy, being full of life for the people you love.
Yeah, and I
right?
think it's being flexible. It's
Flexible.
being able to shift with the times. Like, I think getting this ideal, whatever it is that the media might be
get stuck.
prescribing, out of your mind
Yeah.
and living your own truth. Because you and I mean, I don't know about you. I know you're in amazing shape, but you're probably in karate and you're like, shoot, I can hang with the 20-year-olds.
Which blows my mind sometimes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, that is a great feeling.
It is.
So what if you're not 20? Who cares?
See, I don't, and that
You know
number,
what I'm
that
saying?
number doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
What I had to do the work on, I feel better because I love my life now.
Yeah.
What I had to do the work on was, as my body does physically change, I had to learn how to honor what was going on. I am 50. I had a hysterectomy. I have had a neck injury, right? I want to be vibrant and healthy when I'm 80. So rather than pushing like I did when I was young, it's like, no, you're going to do this anyways.
Yeah.
It's like, no, I'm going to actually be smart about this.
Yes.
I'm going to love my body the way it is. I'm going to take care of it for what it is now.
Yes.
And I'm going to accept the fact that, yeah, it's changing a little bit.
And that's a healthy place to be. And what I'm really encouraging people not to do is compare.
Exactly.
I think the comparison is
unhealthy.
where we go down a place that is really ugly.
Right.
And if you are in your own truth and you feel vibrant and healthy, you're going to be satisfied in your own
Exactly.
skin
I
without
love that.
comparison.
Yeah. And this thing, okay, I have people post for me. No, I have people post for me. I do not like social media. I will not look. I don't scroll. I don't look. hate it. It is the devil. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Because, and even my daughter has
It
finally
can
come to
be.
that. My daughter's, because it's just, there are so many great things on there, but even the great things, you start going, well, I'm not like that. Guess what? They aren't either.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I mean, it's
so-
everybody. It's everybody's highlight reel.
It
right?
is
Of
right.
their
It's the
life.
you have to
It's
know
their
it's the highlight reel.
And so I think being surrounded, and I really, this has been sort of, this doesn't necessarily have to do with food, but just part of the aging process is I've had to really edit like what I surround myself
Yes.
with.
Because people are contagious, and you want to be able to like be around people who inspire you. Be around
Yes.
people who are real, but don't compare yourself.
Correct. And
Right?
and that might be a smaller group of people. It might be different objectives. Like,
Yeah, I refuse to
I don't
hang
want to
out-
go out on a Friday night and get
No.
hammered. Like, that's not who I
No.
am. I'd rather be like doing a yoga class and then maybe having people over for dinner.
Well, and I just
like,
don't do the whole
yeah.
OC housewife thing. Like, I'd rather go hang out at
What's that?
karate, right? The Orange County Housewives of Orange County.
like, what is that?
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
I don't go to the country club. I go
Yeah.
to the karate. I do the things that I know are going to make me feel empowered.
Yes, and finding your truth, I mean, I think this is like such a beautiful thing for every age. I look at my daughter who's about to turn 18, and something that I'm really proud of her is that she is not a carbon copy of the people that are
My
around
daughter
her.
also. I
She
love it.
likes to serve, and she is active, and she likes to eat well, and she removes herself from drama.
My
I think
daughter
it's
too.
it's something we can all do that rounds out your whole health.
And
right?
that probably says a lot about you. That reminds me of my daughter. She came home when she was just started 8th grade. She goes, Mom, I'm not going to know these people in 10 years. I can't. It's so distracting being at school because just what's going on with the drugs and the sex and the problems at school. She goes,
she's so beyond her
oh my
years.
gosh. She's like, can I homeschool? I'm like, excuse me, say that again.
Yeah.
And it's just been a magnificent thing. And she now volunteers, she volunteers like 15 hours a week.
That is so cool.
And yeah, it's pretty cool.
She's a lovely
It's pretty
human
cool.
being.
Yeah.
Love
So
her.
yeah, I love it. So I would love to meet your daughter and
We
see.
have to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
fun.
but I think, we're the role models of our kids and people around us, and just like you saw with your grandma, just like I saw with my mother, like how we show up, and how the habits that we have and all of the ways that we choose to live our lives, our priorities are a mirror. We reflect on everybody. And, I think especially important when you have children or people that are looking up to you to truly live that way. It's not an act. It's not like I'm this way on camera and then I'm this way at home.
Right.
Like, level up, I think, with yourself
Yeah.
and know what your priorities are and base your decisions on that. And food works into that,
I love it, yeah.
I mean, and food doesn't have to be complicated. I mean, one part of the book that I talk about is like simple convertible meals,
I like that.
where you have like maybe you boil some eggs and you have them in your refrigerator, or you grill, some proteins. You have your produce that you wash. We make a great wash for cleaning produce that extends shelf
I've heard your
life.
wash is fantastic.
And
So
I should have brought you some. I will
Yeah.
bring you some. It removes residues, pesticide residues, and it helps your produce last up to 5 times longer. So you can get all your produce prepped in advance. And then your food is a salad bar. Your refrigerator is like, you've got that, you've got some black rice
like that.
you've cooked.
your refrigerator is a salad bar.
Yeah,
That's
and then
great.
it's mixing and matching. So it's not like you have to cook and reinvent the wheel every single time. And a lot of the recipes in here are based on that approach, is getting your refrigerator in order so you can mix and match.
So eat like you give a fork. We're going to do the giveaway. So make sure you reach out, brainwarriorswaypodcast.com. Tag us. You can tag Mareya at
Eat cleaner.
Eat Cleaner,
Mm-hmm.
and you can tag me at Tana Amen. And I want you to answer that question we first asked you. So are you struggling, or have you had a breakthrough? Tell us what you've done or what you need. If you're not changing and you know you need to, why? We're going to come back. We've got one more episode together, and I want to talk
Awesome.
more about your solutions for fast food, like food on the go and snacks.
Yes.
Okay.
Awesome. Great.
All right.
Great
Stay with
subject.
us. Welcome back. So we are still talking about Eat Like You Give a Fork, which I think is so amazing. And we're going to do our giveaway. I'm with Mareya Ibrahim, who's just an amazing person, so inspiring. I cannot believe you're 50. Like you just like
Right back at you, mama. I'm like,
no, you're
you make
so
me
beautiful.
look good just being sitting
you are
here
just
next
so
to
beautiful.
you.
So, I mean, it really is a testament to what you do every day.
Thank you.
So, I mean, you can't see this. She's incredibly fit. So, we're going to do that giveaway, brainwarriorswaypodcast.com. And in this episode, I want to ask you before we get started, what are your favorite snacks? So I think it'd be fun for us to do a follow-up.
Yeah.
And convert people's, you know what we did on Recipe Rehab?
Yeah, totally.
Let's find someone's favorite snacks that are really unhealthy and figure out how to convert it.
I love that idea.
So I know that's what I've done in my cookbooks, and I have a feeling that's what you've done in yours.
Oh,
Because I'm looking at the cover and I'm like,
There's
I
some
know
fun
strawberry
stuff.
ice cream isn't healthy,
Yeah.
but I know you, so I know you've made it healthy, right?
Coconut and ice cream.
There you go.
You know?
So let's talk about the strategies and actually your favorite recipes. Let's just get into the recipes.
Yeah.
Let's talk about how you make this easy for people. I'm
So-
going to guess you've got snacks and desserts and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, because
Fast
nobody
food.
wants deprivation. So being a single mom of two, balancing a business and trying to do everything else, like you've got to make it
You
quick.
have to make it quick.
Ain't nobody got time to be in the kitchen all day.
Yeah, I'm not even a single mom anymore, and I'm on the go like nonstop. It's so fast paced, our lives are.
It is. So when, first of all, really adhering to a meal prep day
Right.
where we get our produce washed and prepped, we get some grains
I do
cooked
the same
off,
thing.
proteins cooked, and then it's mixed. A lot of it is mix and batch.
I'll grill we'll grill like a dozen chicken breasts and boil a whole bunch of eggs and do all that stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And then, another thing that I try and do is just really get the kids involved so that they're part of the process.
Just gonna ask you that because that's what I do in my house.
Yeah, they're part of the process. They enjoy it.
It becomes a family thing.
100%, because the truth is when they're engaged, they're going to be so much more likely to eat and drink what you're preparing.
If they're invested, for sure.
I did a demo at Whole Foods, and I had a little 3-year-old boy who came up and made a smoothie with me, and he was putting the kale in the blender, and his mom was crying because he wouldn't eat his greens at home.
But now he would try
but
it.
he blended
He
it
at least tried
and drank
it.
it. Oh,
Yeah.
and he drank it.
Oh, that's
yeah.
fantastic.
When they're involved, they're more than 85% likely to actually try it. So
Oh,
you want to
that's
get your
so
kids to try it,
fantastic.
get them in the kitchen.
Oh, I love that.
But
You know the thing I
recipes-
saw was that my husband cooks with me now, and that didn't used to happen.
That's
So it's really
great.
fun. Yeah.
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 I think that's so sexy.
Yeah, it's really fun. It is sexy, right? I'm like, you want to do something sexy for your wife or your girlfriend?
Get in the kitchen.
Cook or vacuum,
Heck
but
yes.
cook.
I love, or do the dishes. That
Yeah,
helps too.
My husband does all the dishes.
What a
No,
what a
I know
man.
it's crazy, right?
What a
I
man.
should stop saying this. People are
What
gonna
a
be like,
man.
what? Yeah.
But none of the recipes in here really take longer than half an hour because I know that people really are on the go. But the smart snacks, the substitutes, the things that you can take on the road with you, plentiful. There's great hummus recipes in here. One of my favorites is a no-bake oatmeal chocolate chip peanut butter cookie.
Oh yeah. Well, and I've tasted your
So
peanut butter
good.
balls. I don't know if those are in here. Your protein
A
balls.
variety of them.
so good.
They're made with dates.
They're
the ones
so
in here.
good.
Yeah. Oh, I remember you like those.
No, I was like, I'm taking some of these on the road. 'Cause
I love
I
it.
hadn't eaten. We were speaking.
Yeah, I
And so we
remember
were
that
doing a big
event.
demo, and
Yeah.
I was like, I'm so hungry. And you're like, oh, I have something for you.
Yeah.
I'm like, I need 3 more of those.
Yes, I love
So
that.
they were so good.
So that it's about balance, and one of the things about the book, all of the recipes are essential amino acid balanced.
Oh, I like that.
So people in the wellness fitness industry, bodybuilders,
Yeah.
and
No,
people
I
that,
always take my branch chains.
Yeah, exactly. We know that this is like the key to building muscle and to feeding every part of your hormones too. So all of the recipes are amino acid balanced. And I think this is really important for people to understand, even if nutrition is not something that you have a background in, knowing that getting those into your body every day is truly important because your body doesn't store them.
Well, and it's one of the things. So there's so many vegans. That's another thing. I don't have a dog in that fight. I don't care if you want to eat meat, don't want to eat meat. It's not for me. I'm not the judge and jury on that. I just don't care.
Yeah.
What if it's important to you, that's what I care about.
Yes.
Right? So, but what I do care about very much is that people are healthy regardless of which way they go. So that they pay attention to the quality of the food they eat. They pay attention to how clean their food is, which is what I like about your book.
Yes.
And that if you are a vegan, you are making sure you get all of your amino acids. So even like
100%.
our vegan protein powder, we put all of the branched chain amino acids in it.
Yeah, and I have a section, one of the strategies is eating vegan twice a week.
I
And
like that.
it's giving your digestion a break.
I do that, actually.
Yeah, and it's compressed. It's an intermittent 8-hour period that you're eating vegan. But our bodies just naturally want to cycle.
Yeah.
Some days we eat more, some days we eat less.
And I do
this
that.
is
And I
encouraging
tend to intermittent fast every day anyways, just because naturally I just can't eat a big thing in the morning. I just can't. So I've learned to do my intermittent fasting that way.
There's so many benefits from it. But even in those vegan recipes, you're finding the amino acid balance.
I love that.
You're combining grains and legumes. And I don't know, Tana, I know there's a lot of people out there that say don't eat grains and don't eat beans.
I think it
I'm not
depends.
of that. I'm not
So
in
I
that
do think it
camp.
depends. What we do is we will put people, we don't start with no grains. We will start people on an elimination diet of no gluten.
No gluten.
So so I actually work with so many different types of people. If they are severely diabetic, if they are very fragile, I will remove all grains initially, and then we'll reintroduce the non-gluten ones. But what I do is I have them flip it. It's our society makes grains their staple.
Yes.
What we do is we have them flip that so that their greens and their veggies are their staple. Your grains, if you're going to have them, they're a side.
They're almost
so
like
they're
a
the
condiment.
condiments. That's what I
Yes,
actually call them. I
exactly.
call
High five
them,
on that.
Yeah. So your grains are now a condiment. We'd rather you eat non-gluten ones if gluten affects you. And so they'll ask me, well, what about oatmeal or whatever? It really depends on you. I actually now in this case I just told you I was having trouble. I actually have gotten really skinny after that surgery. I don't know why. It's a weird thing, and I think it has to do with my thyroid medication after going through a hysterectomy. I got super skinny, lost a bunch of muscle because I'm hyperthyroid.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I suddenly had to put grains back in my diet.
Yeah.
I was getting too skinny.
Yeah.
So I used to not even eat a lot of fruit. I used to eat very much caveman style.
Yeah.
Right. And all of a sudden I'm like, I need carbs. Like I
Yes.
have to have carbs
Yes.
or I'm going to just like waste away.
Yeah.
I work with a lot of police officers that they work out really hard. I work out with a lot of athletes. There's no way I'm training these people without grains.
Well, and
It's how you do it and make it healthy.
like you said, so there's a chapter in here and it's about single ingredient
Right.
gluten-free grains. And those single ingredients are where I want people to focus.
Right.
So it's like the black rice.
Yes.
And the kamut.
Yes.
And the amaranth and the teff and all of these ancient grains that have significant nutrition
Right.
in them, and if you are vegan, which a lot of our followers are vegan or vegetarian, it's so important that you're combining those with the right foods to get your complete set of amino acids.
Well, and that's the other thing. If someone's vegan,
Also,
what are they going to
yeah,
eat?
Exactly.
So-
I mean, that's what I think.
so-
And I know that, there's the jury, it's kind of divided. But what I'm saying is that is not the focus necessarily if you're an omnivore. It is an option.
Right.
But I want you to think of the single ingredient grains and starchy vegetables sort of in the same
Right.
kind of realm.
And I don't know about what you think about this. I've never been of the mindset that everyone needs to eat the same. That's why when people come in here, the first thing we do, it needs to be your plan,
Yes.
not everybody's plan.
Yes.
Right? So there is no one plan that's perfect for every person on the planet.
Yes.
That's what bothers me.
Yeah.
So, and that's why I don't care about if you're interested in being a vegan or not, because what we're going to do is we're going to actually test your blood. That's why I like working with chefs, right? Because it's like the perfect complement to what we do. So if you come in to see us, we're going to test your blood. We're going to test your profile, your fatty acids. We're going to tell you what's missing.
Yes.
It has nothing to do with what plan is out there.
Right, and
it
I
needs to be your plan.
Well, and I think what's different about Eat Like You Give a Fork versus other plans or popular, let's just call them popular diets out
Right.
there right now, is there's really no like food group that I've said stay away from. The dairy that I do encourage is more around like non-cow dairy.
Me too,
So
yeah.
like sheep's
very much,
milk.
that's what we say.
Yeah.
all the studies indicate.
Exactly.
It's
Like
very
you'll
different.
see feta cheese in here. You will see some Greek yogurt in here. If it bothers you, you can certainly do
Or
a
go
coconut
lactose
yogurt.
free or go with sheep's milk yogurt
Exactly. But I
or
think
coconut milk yogurt.
coconut milk yogurt, yeah, is a great option. But so I think, it's forgiving, and at the same time, it's very personalizable because it gives you options to be able to mix things up.
I like
If
that.
you are plant-based 100% and you don't eat meat, then you can go with the plant-based options only. But what I'm saying is, don't think only about what you're eliminating. Really focus on what
What you
you're
get.
keeping in.
Yes.
Like, what are you eating?
What
Because
can you have?
there are plenty people that label themselves, and when you really examine what they're eating, it's not sustainable for the
No.
long run. Like cheese and cracker vegetarians, that's not going to get you to where you want to be.
No, and I tried, every plan, this is why I say every plan doesn't work for everybody.
No.
I tried being a vegan. I actually was a vegan for 3 years. I was not healthy as a vegan. I was a pretty extreme athlete at the time, more than I am now, and I'm still pretty athletic. And I was so hungry all the time that I found myself eating a lot of carbs. Only I have diabetes in my family, and I tend to be very insulin resistant.
Yes.
But I was too hungry without it. When I tried going to raw food, not going to work.
I was the same. I was a vegan for 5 years, and what I found though is like, why, unless you really have like a strong personal
Ethical.
reason,
Unless it's
ethical
ethical.
reason, it's not a healthier option.
Right.
I think we can agree on that.
But what
Going
is
that way
healthier is
not
making sure
healthier.
your meat is clean. And
Yes.
what we do often tell people is eat less of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So have a
Choose
little
it
less of
wisely.
it. Make plants your base. Make that your staple. Plant-based foods, and then just add a little clean protein.
That really is the philosophy of the book. And I have a whole section for greens. Greens are so important that they have their own chapter,
I like
their own
that.
strategy. It's called Get Up on Greens. And I talk about how, from a culinary perspective, to bring out the best flavor in greens.
Tell me a couple of your favorite snacks. Oh my God, this is so pretty.
The best kind of date balls are really pretty amazing.
Those are those sort of like the protein?
Yeah.
Look how pretty that is. That's so pretty.
I love the sun-dried tomato hummus because I love the
Yum.
umami flavor and the sun-dried tomato.
Oh, they're there. The
Yep,
best kind of date
date ball.
balls.
We've got
Oh, those are
matcha. We've got
just gorgeous.
the
I'm trying to
peanut
show
ones.
this.
We've got the coconut ones.
Very beautiful. It's a beautiful book.
Thank you. And I love a quick meal that I can pull together. I love to grill. So the bison
Me
kofta
too.
burger that's
Very
on the
easy.
cover is like, kofta is a big part of my
love that. Us
Middle
too.
Eastern background.
Us
Yeah,
too.
so it's got a lot of flavor in it.
Fantastic.
You can serve it on a lettuce bun, and it's just very satisfying.
I love that.
Yeah.
There's so much
Pickled
in here.
vegetables on top. That's how I eat my burger.
Love it.
Yeah.
That looks, and pickled vegetables, they're fermented.
Yes.
Fermented food's awesome. for
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. I show you how to make your own in there.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
really great.
Yeah. Quick
That's a really
pickle.
great thing.
Quick pickle. Yeah.
You have the cutest names. Eat like you give a fork. The real dish on eating to thrive. I like that. The real dish on eating to thrive. Beautiful book. I really love it. So I want you to tell them once again where they can find it.
Yeah, so beginning June 4th, it'll be in bookstores everywhere, nationally available. It's also on our website at eatcleaner.com, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, really wherever you shop for books. And if you
So-
like it, I would love to hear it because
Yeah,
I
we
love
wanna
that
hear.
feedback.
Well, and I know I've
Yeah.
worked with you enough that I know her food's amazing. So I know you are an amazing chef,
Thank
and I know
you.
your simple recipes that I've seen you demonstrate taste ridiculous.
Thank
so that's the whole point, is to make
Make it simple.
healthy food, medicine-based quality food taste delicious. That's the whole point.
So that you don't even know.
No, you're eating
that
healthy.
you're focused on eating something that's balanced and clean. And I think we have to redefine a little bit what healthy even means, because I
we
think
do.
people
They're so confused.
so confused.
Yeah, I agree with you. And so I'm excited. I want you to tag us so they can tag you at Eat Clean.
Eat cleaner.
Eat Cleaner. And you can tag me at Tana Amen. And please answer our question that we asked in the beginning. So what are your favorite snacks that you know are not healthy that you would like to see become healthy? I think we could actually do something fun
I
with
think
that.
this would be great. We should get in the kitchen to do
I
that.
know,
right?
we should do that.
Yeah,
so
we
if you
should.
want to see us get in the kitchen and rehab something,
Yeah.
let us know. That's been what the whole premise of what I do is rehabbing stuff, but more from a standpoint of a health professional.
Mm-hmm.
So partnering with someone who is really more of a master chef would be really fun.
Oh, I
It'd be
would welcome
fantastic.
that. I think that'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Maybe we could even we'll talk about it.
I
have
see
some
those wheels.
idea- I have some
I know.
ideas.
I have a feeling I know what you're
some
going to say.
ideas,
So,
yes.
so let's do this. We want to hear from you. Thanks so much, Mareya. That was
such
so
a pleasure.
fantastic.
You're amazing.
Really fun. So hope you enjoyed this. Let us know the best parts. Can't wait to hear from you. Thanks. If you're enjoying the Brain Warriors Way podcast, please don't forget to subscribe so you'll always know when there's a new episode. And while you're at it, feel free to give us a review or 5-star rating, as that helps others find the podcast.
If you're interested in coming to Amen Clinics, use the code PODCAST10 to get a 10% discount on a full evaluation at amenclinics.com. For more information, give us a call at 855-978-1363.